drained the blood from my face. My heart pounded. I called again. Marco started to cry. I couldn't hear my mother answer beyond his wails. I screamed at him to stop, but it just made him worse. I had little strength to stifle my panic. My brother took a step toward me. He slipped and fell, hitting his elbow hard on the sharp edge of a rock. His blood oozed crimson onto the moss. I yanked him up and wrapped my headscarf around his elbow. "We'll go home now," I began, trying to swallow my hot tears of terror. "I'll come back for Mamma when the sun is out, see?" He nodded back at me, both of us choosing to believe my promise, fat tears rolling down his little cheeks. We never saw our mother again. Father's morning consisted more of fretting about what to do with the incumbent children he had to feed than grieving the loss of the fine woman who had fallen to her death. One day he declared that I was to go and live down by the shore in Positano with Signora Cavaldi, the widow now running her late husband's produce stall. In return for lodging and food, I was to assist her. I felt torn. Delirious with the prospect of escape from the misery of life on the mountainside with this man for a father, and terror at what life would now entail for Marco. The next day an uncle from Nocelle climbed up to speak with my father. Marco would be needed to tend to his farm. The deal was sealed. We were dispatched to new parents. I tried to forget the expression on Marco's face as he was led away from me. He walked downhill, his reluctant hand in my uncle's, ripping a piece out of me with each step. I patched over the gaping hole and the fresh wound of my mother's death with brittle bravado. My father would not see me cry. I wish that would have been the last time I ever saw him, too. Signora Cavaldi's shop was a cavern carved into the stubborn rock that enveloped the cove of Positano. She held a prime position between the mill and the laundry, minimizing competition. I now wonder whether that had more to do with her careful management of the town's politics and politicians, or her not-so-secret connection with the men who protected the trade and tradesmen. I wouldn't like to guess whom she paid, nor how much, or indeed how much others paid her, but my instinct tells me her tentacles stretched far and wide. I arrived wearing the only dress I owned, a smock of doleful grey which matched my mood. She gave me the once-over and pieced together an opinion as deft as she would calculate someone's shopping bill. The woman was a wizard with numbers. That took me no time to figure out. But she loathed children. "You're 12 now, Santina, see?" "Si, signora," I answered, trying to stop my left leg from shaking. It was an embarrassing habit since I had succumbed to polio as a younger child, and my withered calf always revealed too much about what I was feeling at any given time. "You're here to work, yes? I'll give you 2 days to learn what we do. I expect to never repeat myself, capisci?" "Si, I understand, signora." She set me to work immediately, sorting the produce, laying out chestnuts in baskets, polishing the scales that grew dirty again with the weighing of earth-dusted mushrooms. I cleaned the vats of oil, swept and scrubbed the floor. As the sun dipped, she called out for me to light the stove in the kitchen of the apartment upstairs and brew a broth for dinner. At first it struck me as a little out of my remit. I had been told that I would be served food in return for working, and I will admit the idea of having regular meals was exhilarating. However, my own cooking skills were not well honed. Mother and I permitted ourselves a full meal maybe once a week, and meat was scarce. I stood hesitant before the stove in a strange kitchen, not knowing where anything might be kept. I was loath to search amongst her things. I went downstairs. She scolded me for lacking initiative. "Look around you, mountain girl. We have a shop, the best grocers in town. I have a clean kitchen, which you will keep pristine, and I want, thanks be to God, very little. Don't let me see you down here until dinner is served." And with that she turned back toward the broccoli rabe, placing them in neat lines inside wooden crates ready for the following day. I fought with several pans, finally chopped as many of the vegetables as I could find that would not be good for selling the following day, dropped in a fist of barley, lentils, and parsley, and eventually there was a broth that would fill our stomachs. A little thin, perhaps, and lacking in salt, as Signora Cavaldi was so quick to point out, but it was hot, and reminded me that I was not on the mountains any longer. I slept in a thin cot placed in the short hallway between Signora's room and her son Paolino's room. It was draughty,